Before the sun rose on January 3rd, 2026, the skies above Caracas, Venezuela were quiet. Then, in the early hours, that silence was broken. Around 2 a.m., Venezuelan time, at least 7 explosions echoed across the capital and surrounding areas. Residents reported low-flying aircraft and multiple detonations near military and strategic sites. Speaking later that morning, Donald Trump described the scale of the operation in stark terms.
An assault like people have not seen since World War II. With Maduro in U.S. custody, we will run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
The explosions were not isolated. They marked the opening of a coordinated military operation carried out by the United States Armed Forces against Venezuela. The operation involved a large number of aircraft, fighters, bombers, and support planes, taking off from bases in the Caribbean and the southern United States under a directive authorized the night before. The objectives of the strikes were clear in their design. Targets included military installations around Caracas, among them the base aérea Generalissimo Francisco de Miranda, commonly known as La Carlota, and the extensive Fuerte Tiuna military complex. Both facilities were struck early in the operation. Explosions were also reported at Higuerote Airport, further east on the Venezuelan coast, as well as in locations such as La Guaira and antenna complexes on elevated terrain around the capital. The attack was executed with a mixture of airstrikes and special operations insertions. Precision-guided munitions, including long-range stand-off weapons, were employed to neutralize air defenses and communications infrastructure. Concurrently, helicopters carrying special operations forces penetrated into urban space after power disruptions caused by the strikes. Within hours, the forces had advanced on key command nodes in Caracas. Amid the bombardment and the cascading power outages that followed, large plumes of smoke rose from hangars in military compounds. Residents reported abrupt blackouts in the southern and eastern sectors of the city, and footage shared on social media depicted flames against the night sky. In a statement issued after the strikes, Nicolás Maduro condemned the operation and rejected its legitimacy.
Extremely serious military aggression. Blatant violation of international law.
At approximately 3:30 a.m., a United States Army Delta Force contingent is documented to have captured President Nicolás Maduro and his wife at a secure location in Caracas. The detainees were then flown to U.S. military assets offshore and ultimately transported out of Venezuelan territory later that morning. Announcing the outcome of the mission, U.S. Ambassador Ronald Johnson emphasized the operation's precision.
Extracted the head of its narco-terrorist regime without a single casualty. Absolutely remarkable.
The operation was the culmination of months of planning and military buildup in the region. In the weeks preceding January 2026, the U.S. had positioned significant Navy and Air Force assets in the Caribbean. Intelligence units had monitored Venezuelan leadership movements and defenses, preparing for a precise execution of the mission. From the opposition, Maria Corina Machado issued a message of support and expectation.
Immense gratitude for leadership and courage shown. Today is a milestone and the beginning of a true transition to democracy.
The Venezuelan government described the attacks as an unwarranted act of aggression against sovereign territory and accused external forces of attempting regime change. Venezuelan authorities decried the strikes and called for international forums, including the United Nations. In the immediate aftermath, Caracas was left in an atmosphere of uncertainty and paralysis. The capital's electrical grid, already fragile before the strikes, suffered further disruptions. Streets were largely empty as civilians remained indoors, wary of further explosions or military movement. Supply lines and commercial activity slowed as the implications of the attack and leadership capture unfolded. Caution also came from international observers. Human Rights Watch warned that removal alone did not guarantee stability.
Venezuelans could end up being worse off, ironically, after the departure of Maduro. This is certainly not a moment to be hanging out the bunting and opening the champagne.
Casualty figures varied in early official reports, with military sources reporting dozens of uniformed personnel killed in the engagements. In civilian areas, damage to infrastructure and loss of life was reported in separate instances, though comprehensive tallies were still being compiled. Defending the operation in legal terms, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi framed the capture as a security necessity.
The world's most notorious narco-traffickers and a direct threat to national security.
International reactions were swift. Several governments condemned the strikes as a violation of Venezuela's sovereignty, while others supported the removal of a leader accused by the United States of criminal activity. The event, unprecedented in South American history, reshaped regional diplomacy and raised questions about the future of governance, security, and civilian life in Venezuela. The bombing of Caracas on January 3, 2026 was not just a series of explosions in the night. It was a military operation with a clear objective. And its consequences, political, social, and human, continued to unfold long after the smoke cleared.